you guys are having an amazing Wednesday. It is June 21st and it's our weekly team call. I'm super excited. We are going to be hearing from one of our very own, Miss Courtne, who's going to be sharing with us and just sharing herself and her story. But before that, just a couple quick announcements. Of course, guys, it's the 21st, still plenty of time in the month to hit your objective, to hit your goals. Make sure that you're reaching out to people. Make sure that you are reaching out to people, following up with people. We have we have Shift Shop coming out, in July. Super excited. Now's a great time to be sharing before and afters from the Shift Shop test group. If you've seen people sharing their before and afters, typically, if they're from the test group, it's okay to share them. And I'll try to post some before and afters in our team page so that you guys have them and you can share them. It was kind of the rule of thumb that was like, if it was shared, it can be shared. Like, we don't have to be asking everyone for permission to be, as long as it says like official Shift Shop, kind of on the way that it has the Shift Shop on there. So just kind of keeping that in mind. So we have Shift Shop coming out. So really excited. It's a fantastic program. So making sure that you're talking to people, making sure, guys, that you are working on yourself. That's one thing. Yesterday we had a community call. It was great. For those who are in my wellness group on Tuesdays, I do have the community call, which is with clients and both customers and coaches. And so it's really nice to be able to come together and just talk about health and wellness. And one thing that we talked about this week was just that we absolutely, as coaches, we need to be focused on our self-care. If we are not putting ourselves first, our business is gonna crumble. It's gonna go away. So realizing that you must always be first, putting yourself first and always doing the things that you need to do, whether it's making sure you get your workout in, making sure you do your personal development, making sure that you are filling your bucket, because that is the only way that you're going to be able to serve others. That's the only way that you're going to be able to spread the light, spread the joy, if you feel that. If you're not feeling that, trust me, you're not going to be able to attract people who want to be a part of your energy. Realize that your energy attracts. And so if you're low energy, if you're not feeling good, the universe has a weird way of knowing that, and they will not send people your way, and people will be able to pick up on that. So realize that is what I love about this business, honestly, guys, is that you really genuinely have to be high vibing. You really genuinely have to be pouring into yourself and believing in yourself and doing well internally. And that's going to reflect in your business. It's going to reflect in your posting. It's going to be reflective in all areas of your life. So really keep that in mind. Make sure that that's always the focus, guys. Know that my goal to see all of you guys, the reason I am here as a coach, standing here 4 years later, is because of the transformation that I know being a coach can do for someone when they take on that role, when they do the personal development, they do the workouts. To me, there are not many other areas in this, in the job force, out there in society that allow this type of development. And so recognize that and realize that's something you have to share and offer to other people. The same transformation that you have yourself, that is what you're offering to others when you're talking about joining your group, when you're talking about joining your team. It's not just the weight loss. It's so much more than the weight loss. And so just kind of keep that in mind. Anyway, I don't want to keep talking and gabbing, because I know later on if there's time for talk, and I can talk and take questions. As always, guys, if you have any questions, definitely ask them in the message box. So super excited. We're going to be hearing from Courtne. And so this is Courtne's first time. So I'm really excited, and we're all going to share, send some positive love to her, which I know she's going to do fine. And so it's a good to get out of your comfort zones, guys. And this is something, that we're doing. And if you want to come on to one of our team calls and want me to kind of just Q&A you to kind of stepwise get you out so that before you can do a whole call on your own, I'm happy to do that as well, because it's the same. If there's something nice about knowing someone else is on the call with you, and you don't have to kind of make up the time all yourself, to know that there's someone there that can kind of guide you. So if you want to be on one of our calls coming up, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear how you guys are doing. I want the rest of the team to hear from you guys. So anyway, so Courtne, I am going to have you get started, darling. What I want you to do is I actually just want you to share your story a little bit, share your story and take us back to kind of, why you decided to become a coach.
Okay. Like a humongous jump out of my comfort zone, but that's exactly why I need to be doing this. Welcome to my lovely bathroom. It is the only place I have good light. I started in my bedroom and I was green. And then I went to the kitchen and I was like, there's no way I can stand this long. So so welcome
really
to my
have great lighting. I was like, she has fantastic lighting, wherever she is.
And a backdrop. This is a backdrop. I paid a lot of money for it. Walmart. So my story as far as how I got started as far as coaching, I guess I started kind of on a downhill spiral about 4 years ago. I took care of my pop while he was on hospice for about 45 days. And, of course, that in itself is very challenging, seeing someone that you love going through that kind of stuff. I lost him, but then in the span of about 4 months, I lost 3 others. And I was in my, I think my second semester of my junior year in college. And so I was still dancing at the time. I was like, well, it's okay. Like, I'll be able to make it. I almost dropped out like 3 times my senior year because I wasn't dancing anymore. I danced through the university. And so not having an outlet for that negativity, all that sadness really did bring me down. Graduated from college and, kind of just never got over what I had lost and just felt like I was losing more and more of myself and, just kind of losing direction in general. And I went to a job. I worked at a car dealership, which is nonstop, 14-hour days, no time to like deal with your problems or work on yourself, none of that. And not healthy at all. Did that for 2 years. Finally got into my, my breaking point, I guess. God dropped a rock on me. And one Saturday, I did not want to get out of bed. And it was only reason why I had gotten out of bed was to let my dog Lady out. I have a dog. She's beautiful. Her name's Lady. And so I let her outside. And while I was waiting for her to do her business, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed and I saw my beautiful coach, Courtne Reyes, and she was smiling and it was the most genuine smile I've ever seen. And she was happy and she was talking about making money. At the time, I didn't have $250 to my name. At the time. When I signed up as a coach, I didn't have $250 to my name, guys. And she was beautiful and she was talking about getting fit and I had been not taking care of myself. I needed to love myself more. And fitness had always been like a good outlet for me. And I wanted to smile like her. I wanted to genuinely smile. And so I sent her a message and she was great. She responded. We talked for like 2 weeks and I was a coach. I wanted to dive in head first because I think I told her, I was like, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well just do it. I'm not going to like take a half step. So just kind of plunged in. And it's definitely still in the development phase. I've got 2 discount coaches underneath me, and I would really love to expand. But, of course, that's all in good time. I'm not rushing the process. I'm just really loving it.
So awesome. And one thing I want you guys, that I thought was really beautiful, Courtne, and it's something I hear over and over again, is that what attracts people to us guys in our social media is our smiles. It's our happiness. And I will hear that over and over again when I talk to people. And when you hear what people are really needing out there in society is that people are genuinely they're not happy. They're not overall happy and they're seeking that. And that's why, that's one of the things I get chills just thinking about it, that it's as simple as taking on the mission of being a light worker, as I call it, of spreading light and spreading love and spreading positivity and spreading that good aura, that good energy. That is your role as a coach, because that is what people want. And so it's not the finances. It's not, I'm telling you, it's not, at the end of the day, yes, there are some people who will, and they're just like, I really need the money, but it's really how you make people feel. And it's really that the person wants to feel how you feel. So realize that when you're thinking about your posting, what's the energy that you're portraying in your posting? What's the message that you're showing in your eyes, in your face, in your smile? Because that is what people are attracted to. And that's what I get from the message, from the story where she was at a dark place in her life. She had just lost people that she loved, and she was not taking care of herself, and how, that happens to everybody, because death happens in everyone's life, and low points happen in everyone's life. And that's not going to go away, and it's not going to go away in our lives, but it's being there and teaching people, how do you climb out of that hole? How do you keep moving forward and not letting that define you, and not letting that be a time when it robs you of so much of your time, because so many people stay stuck there. So just kind of realizing that. So Courtne, what would you say, like, what's one of the things that you love most about the coaching process, or just being a coach, and like share with us, like, one or two things that you really enjoy, since you've been a coach?
So I guess the first thing that comes to mind is showing people that they are capable of so much more than they give themselves credit for. And the second part to that is just watching that light bulb go off. Like my sister Karen, for instance, I just got done with a 30-day group, and I'm going to share her transformation. She was not giving me like, oh, go ahead and share it, I want to do it Transformation Tuesday, but she didn't give me like an A-OK, so I didn't feel comfortable doing it, of course. But she only lost 6 pounds in 30 days, but that's still humongous for my sister Karen. She has a very low metabolism. She doesn't work out every day. Like before this, she wasn't working out every day. She definitely wasn't eating properly. And there was days she stumbled. That's okay. But like watching my sister like realize like, heck yeah, I can do core de force, and I'm actually enjoying it. And she said, how when trainers are like, activate your core, she told me that she finally felt like she could activate her core, like there was an actual difference. And she lost a couple of inches, and watching her grow and watching her realize how strong she is, that's very fulfilling for me. And I guess secondly would be, really just by me being able to pour out my positive energy into somebody else, I kind of do get it in return, it just like Stephanie was saying, like, it's just, you get in what you put out, and I really do feel like on some days when I'm going into my power hour and I've had kind of a crummy day, but I've done my personal development. I'm in the right frame of mind. Let's go. And I'm just, listening to people, engaging with people, making conversation about their lives. And then, just being able to get that energy back. Sometimes that lifts me up on some of the days, like, I don't want to work out. Like, oh my God, like I really like 12-hour shift climbing tanks all day. Do I really want to work out? And then I talk to somebody like, oh, you motivate me so much. I'm like, damn it, I guess I'm going to go work out, like, so I guess that would be like one of the other things for sure.
It's interesting that you say that. So to piggyback off of that, because I think absolutely, guys, the more that you pour into others, you are going to receive that back in return. It's the law. It's a law. You reap what you sow. And it has everything to do with our energy levels, our energy fields, and also, just the words that we tell to others. One thing, so right now I have kind of 3 coaches that I personally have, like for me, like I have 3 coaches that I have paid to coach me. And so I met with one of them today, and she told me something that was really interesting. She said, Stephanie, and this is for all of you guys, and that's why I'm sharing the message. The way that you uplift others, the way that you motivate others, the verbiage that you use, the words that you use, the way that you say it, it's going to be different. Like the way that I'm going to motivate someone is going to be different than the way Courtne is going to, or Danielle's going to, or Jen's going to. Like we're going to use different words. And one thing she said really interesting was that a lot of times those words that we use for others, we actually need to be using for ourselves. And that was really powerful for me, because I was like, wow, it's that self-talk Because at the end of the day, a lot of us, if you're anything like me, we're great motivators of others, but we are the worst motivators at times of ourselves. And like attraction, I know that my team suffers with the same issues, because attraction attracts, similar, you guys are all really beautiful women, but I'm sure we all share a lot of the same limitations and weaknesses when it comes to ourselves. So just kind of keep that in mind. Think about the words that you're telling others and be mindful of that, as well as realize, wow, do I need to be saying this to myself? Do I need to be telling myself this? And also think about, use that to also help you with your messaging. It's like, what is it that you need to hear? And have those honest conversations with yourself to ask yourself, what do you need to hear? And share that and post that, because then you're going to get a lot of people that are similar to you, that have a similar story. So just kind of, something to think about. Courtne, take me through exactly, like, do you have any, and I know I didn't tell you this question, but do you have any process to your posting, or how do you, like if you had someone in front of you who's a brand new coach and they're just like, I don't know what to post, what is the advice you would give to someone in terms of how they, what they should be sharing on social media, or, how the thought process you take in terms of selecting what you're going to post, and how often do you post?
So I think the best place to start for sure is making sure that the content is always honest and positive. You can be completely honest about having a bummer day, but always put a positive spin on it. And I've seen Jen, Stephanie, Courtney, Ashley, I've seen all of you guys do this in fantastic ways, like just making sure that at the end of the day, you are still putting out that positivity, because that's what you need. People aren't going to be attracted to somebody that just wants to be sad. Just like Stephanie was saying, like, people really do need happiness, and social media has become so negative since November. And so any positivity you can bring to the plate, people are instantly going to be attracted to your profile and want to know you more. After that, I typically post 3 to 4 times a day. 4 times if something interesting has happened to me, like oh my gosh, I'm going to go see Wonder Woman, like I'm a nerd thing. As far as like the actual physical content, I like always doing a motivational post, which is something that Stephanie had suggested to me. And I was doing those in the morning and I wasn't getting a whole lot of response. So I've actually switched it up and I'm doing those in the afternoon now. And they seem to get a little bit more traction. You can look on your Facebook and on your Instagram Insights. And I'm sure your coach above you can go into that more, but you can look at exactly what time is making those posts more attractive to people. My morning post might just be like, just an honest, like, hey, I'm rolling out of bed, like, let's make today like rock, or, I'll show what I'm having for breakfast. Cause it's always good to show that you are, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? That kind of thing. Like, I never want to come off like, well, I'll tell you what to do, but it's like, I'm too big to be doing that kind of stuff. No, I'm still eating clean. And so I always like to share, and people probably get tired of looking at my food, but it keeps me accountable too. I could easily have a breakfast taco. I live in Texas. There are plenty of taquerias around, so sharing my breakfast. And then as far as my evening posts, I'll typically post my workout, because that's just when I work out, and typically I'll try to throw in a little bit of like, ask me about my next group, that kind of thing. That way I'm always having a steady post every single day advertising that I do that, because some people think we just work out all day and like that's it. Like, oh, she just works out for herself. If you never ever mention in your posts, they're never going to be able to know. So I always like to put that in there somewhere.
Awesome. And would you say that you try to stay pretty consistent with at least making sure that you show up every single day?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, and not to this, this isn't a diss at all to other, entrepreneurs like ourselves, but like makeup, for instance. Makeup is something that people don't have to trust you a whole lot for. They see it on your face. It looks great. I'm going to buy it. Like, that looks like a shade I would love. Boom, going to buy it. but fitness is something so much more personal. And people have to really build up a trust level with you before they can actually dive in with this kind of a thing. It's an investment of time, it's an investment of money, and you're their coach. So if you're not showing up consistently, then why should they feel like they can trust you with this big journey? So for sure, making sure that I'm posting at least 3 times a day, and it has to be like something crazy, like a crazy day for me not to accomplish that at least.
And I would say it's been the same for me, guys, too. And those who have followed me know that I've stayed very consistent with showing up to my social media at least 2 to 3 times a day. And I've done that for 4 years. And I really do think that simple consistency has compounded. And it's why I still, and I do the same thing Courtne does, which is like every day I try to put out, some sort of message that says, I have a group starting, or reach out to me, or I'm always consistent doing that, because I know that all of our posts are not always being seen. And I know that like Courtne's saying, I have tons of people who are watching me. And so if you're earlier on in your career, it's like you're building that trust. And there's time when you're going to be posting, you're going to be like, I don't know. I remember when the other Courtne was starting, and she was just like, no one's watching me, no one's and I'm like, just keep posting, just trust the process. And then she started seeing definitely some improvement in people reaching out to her. And so and I think that's what's hard about any business, guys. It's like that initial work, and that initial work, and it's being your own boss. It's not forgiving to you, taking time off. It's not forgiving to you just going MIA. I mean, that's the fact of the matter, whether you have an online business of any sort of selling anything on online business, or whether you have a brick and mortar, physical location. So just kind of realizing that the consistency is incredibly important. So Courtne, once someone says that they're interested, take us through the process. What do you see a message and they're just like, hey, Courtne, I'm interested in more information, or, hey, I want to get involved. And so take us through what your process is.
So if they're not somebody that, like, there's a cold market and a warm market. So like if it's a cold person, I always try to start off with, hey, thank you so much for reaching out to me.
Can you explain what a cold market and a warm market is?
Yeah, sure. So a cold market's going to be somebody that's kind of been following in the shadows of Instagram. If you've got a business Instagram and it's open to everybody, they can see you, and sometimes they won't actually follow you, but they search you every once in a while. And they're your cold market because they're not even really on your radar yet. Your warm market might be people that you actually know, people that are following you, and people that you've engaged with, have some kind of relationship with, to begin with. If it's a cold market person, then I really want to start trying to build a relationship from the get-go. Even though they've reached out to me about purchasing something, if that falls through, at least I can still continue building that relationship. If I just dive in like, hey, buy this, like, that's going to be so unattractive. They're never going to want to talk to me again if what I have to say isn't like perfect timing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, I have this coming up, really can't commit to that right now, and I haven't put anything out beside buy something from me. That's not going to work. So I always like trying to build a relationship with that person first, and that'll be something like, oh my gosh, I love your photos. Like, just give a quick scan. Like, if, for instance, I'm looking at all these cute little fur babies that are jumping around, like, I would be like, oh my gosh, like, what's your dog's name? How old is your dog? That, because I'm a dog mom, so that's important to me. Just try to connect with them somehow. And then I would begin with my regular consultation, which is, like, do you need nutritional guidance? What kind of workouts do you prefer? And I'm very strategic on this. I said cardio and weights, boxing, yoga, cardio, dance. Which one sounds best? And typically they'll have 1 or 2 choices, which is great because then I can send them more than 2 or 3 videos, The more information you give, the less people feel like, oh, she's just trying to make a commission, Like, if you really take that time and individualize it for that person, they're going to really feel like, wow, she's taking the time to like get to know me and what's going to work best for me. And that just builds up the trust even more. After that, typically if they're really into it, they're going to watch those videos right away. If they're not, they're going to put it off a couple of days, and that's fine because people get busy. Don't take it personally at all, but I'll follow up maybe 2 to 3 days afterward and just be like, hey, have you had a chance to watch those videos? If they say no, most likely they're really not interested. Just continue, start building that relationship. But if they respond and they're like, yeah, I actually did get a chance, and I'll say, do you have any questions? That way I'm opening up the conversation, because if they haven't jumped on it immediately, it's probably because they have some kind of hesitation. So once they've gotten all that out, we'll start discussing prices. I don't discuss prices. I want to build value first. People aren't going to be able to see the value if you put a dollar sign on it immediately. That's all they're going to see. That's all they're going to hear, But if you're able to say, look, if you get Beachbody On Demand, you're going to get portion control containers, access to all the super trainers that are changing people's bodies right now. You're going to have the Shakeology for 30 days. 30 days of the best food for, your breakfast or your lunch or a snack on the go, building up that kind of, reputation first, because some people don't even know what Beachbody is, which is crazy to me because we're so huge. But there's people, if they're not into fitness or they've gotten kind of out of the loop for a long time, they don't know what we do, so throwing a price tag out there is going to really shut you down. And after that, it's just kind of, figuring out, I get paid then. And then I'll be like, well, would you like me to send you a link? And then that way I've already put it on I put the ball in their court. They say they get paid on the 15th. Great. Here is a link to that package, or I can set up a time for it with you if you'd like, where I can do the order for you. I like giving them the 2 options. And that's basically like just calling them on Messenger. I would not suggest this with somebody that kind of creeped you out during the consultation. And that's probably not someone you want to be working with anyway. But, if somebody is like, oh, it's nuts at home, I know I won't be able to sit down. Perfect. You go ahead, get your wallet open. I'll go to the website. You're going to receive an email as soon as I'm done. That way, I'm not just stealing your information, So I like giving them those 2 options, sending them a link or doing the transaction for them entirely.
Awesome. And how often do you feel that you have to follow up with people a lot?
Yes. Actually, one of the girls that are in my 30-day group right now, I've been messaging since November of 2016. She responded to a post that I did in October promoting my post-Thanksgiving group, because I knew that people were going to feel so bad, so bad after Thanksgiving. So I started really hammering the advertising on that early. And I don't know if there's a lot of personal things going on and stuff. And she kind of put it on the back burner for a while. Then she messaged me, and then she cricket for a long time. And then all of a sudden she was like, I'm ready. I am so pumped up. I see you doing it all the time. And she's one of those people that doesn't like your photos. She didn't like any of my photos. She didn't like any of it. She didn't comment on anything. She was never like, you go girl, keep it up. Never. She was one of those cold she followed me, but she was never putting any energy out there. But it was a consistency of me, just when she stopped messaging me about wanting to join groups, I still just messaged her and be like, how was your day? I saw this picture of your son. He looks beautiful. He's growing up so fast, that kind of thing, making sure that she knows that, just because you don't want to join my group, I don't want anything to do with you. Being open is such a good thing. And so I followed up with her, I think a total of 7 or 8 times, just like that. And she reached out to me twice in that time span to join the group. And I think the other person was from January that's in this group now.
And honestly, that's how it works. It's the following up is so incredibly important, and it's hard. I know it's hard for people because, a lot of times you feel like you're putting out so much effort and you're doing a lot of work to follow up with people. But exactly like what you said, which is you're just connecting with people, as part of the follow-up process. Even if they said no, even if they kind of went crickets, you keep connecting. I know for us, we connect, we're always sending messages. And so we'll get people back from 2015 who are again, because I've been doing this, remember guys, I've been doing this since 2013 now. And so I will get people who have been following me for years and they don't say anything, but they're just like, yeah, all of a sudden they'll just come back from, and we've sent emails, we've sent messages. So the idea is that what everyone should be working, and their objective is to increase your follow-up list. That should always be your objective overall. Doesn't matter if they say yes, doesn't matter if they say no. Your objective is to increase that follow-up list. And so I have, we have over, I'm sure, close to 5,000 people on our follow-up list. And, you just kind of, chip away at that, and you keep adding to that. And that's the goal, and realizing, because someone is going to get started on their journey and when they are ready, and when they find value in it. One thing, Courtne, I would ask is, how have you grown your following? Like, what are the steps that you're using to grow your following?
As far as Facebook goes, people is pretty easy. It shows up usually while you're in the middle of a good read. Just shows up all up in the way. And I would suggest to you, when you're first starting out, when it's kind of awkward starting with conversations, with folks that you may not know all that well, I would stick to people that have maybe 10 to 15 mutual friends, because most likely that means that you either went to the same schools, you're from the same area, you have something in common with this person. You just have to dig deep to figure out what it is. Just scroll on their profile, you know what I mean? I've been getting a lot of creepers. So this is my suggestion. If somebody puts off like a weird energy on their profile and they've sent you a friend request, just go ahead and decline. It's really not worth it. You're going to get weird messages at 5 o'clock in the morning. Good morning, beautiful. Like, what? Just don't. It's such a waste of time. And it makes you feel like, why the hell am I on here? I have people that don't message me back, and I have creeps that are messaging me all the time. You just don't want that. So people for sure. Like I said, 10 to 15 mutual friends. And then as far as Instagram goes, there's something called, I think, hashtag hunting is what they want to call it. And so if you have an Instagram account, you can go to the search bar and you can actually look at like top people, hashtags. And I think it like added a places tab or something like that, but just type in like the hashtags that you use. And so like fur mom is one that I use a lot. So I'll go to those people, or I'll, married life, find other people that are married. These hashtags should be something that you have in common, with these folks. And then that way you can identify somebody that you most likely could build a relationship with pretty easily. My Instagram is most definitely my cold market, but I actually have been able to create 3 new friendships that led to people being in my groups from, I guess, we're in June, from May. So that's pretty incredible, that I'm getting that kind of attraction with people that I've never talked to before, ever. So.
Awesome. And if you guys have any questions for Courtne, please, if you can kind of write it in the message box. And if you have any questions, especially because she is still and we're all very much still building. And guys, like, our goal should always be reaching out and connecting with people every single day and growing our network. Those are our 2 main goals, as like in terms of business activities, like, chatting, connecting with people, growing our network. And how we grow our networks is that consistency in growing our networks is incredibly, incredibly important. And it's looking at what you guys have of value, what you guys have interest in, what you guys, like Courtne was saying, she enjoys her animals. She's a fur mom. And so she's going to be posting about that, sharing that, because she wants to have other people who love their dogs. You know what I mean? And so making sure that whatever you're doing, making sure that you are focusing always on how can I make sure that my network is going up. Because you guys, what I see a lot of coaches where they struggle is that they have a very small market, 200 friends, 100 friends, whatever, and they don't learn the skill set. They don't learn, how do I grow this? And it takes effort, because trust me, it takes effort to understand your avatar, which we've talked about in the past, understand branding. You know, Danielle is really great at branding. Like I love her beautiful posts that she makes, you know, that she has her quotes on with the floral, and they're beautiful, you know, and it's really, really beautiful, you know, to see, you know, her branding develop. And I can tell that she's putting effort and she has a style to her. And that's branding. You know, you start seeing things. And so it's incredibly important, and you can't shy away from it. Because if you want to have success as an entrepreneur, any type of entrepreneur, this is going to be important. And so making sure that that is a huge focus for you and is going to be really, really, really important. Let's see. Any favorite personal development books?
Yes. Let me go get it.
Oh, she's so cute. By the way, guys, my plug for personal development, the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. You guys have all seen me post about it. It's really amazing. You guys should read it. And then also She Means Business, which is by Carrie. I forgot who that's from, but that's also a really great book. She Means Business. Go ahead, Courtne.
So the personal development book that I'm reading currently is Jump by Steve Harvey, which if you haven't seen his video on YouTube, you can just put Jump Steve Harvey in there. It's about a 7-minute long video. So like watch it while you're brushing your teeth or just listen to it while you're driving in the car. It's incredible. I don't want to give too much away, but basically it's about taking a leap of faith so that you can open up the doors to your destiny and your, a life of abundance. And, this is me jumping for sure. This is a jump. Courtney Reyes knows that when I first started, this was like the hardest thing in the world. I would be choked up, sometimes on the verge of crying when I would try to talk. And so this is like a humongous leap for me being able to do this. And I know it's because of the personal development books that I've been reading over the course of the last year that have really been able to get me here. Beside that, I've got an Audible account because if you're anything like me, sitting down to read a book sometimes is very difficult, but you still have to make time for it. Like, look at Jen. Like, there's no way she could hold a book right now. She's got 2 babies in her arms, you know? But she could definitely, like, have her phone going with some great personal development going. So I've got a couple marriage books on here, which are great, too, because it points out character flaws that you might have. But the 7 principles of spiritual success, it like loaded. Oh no, don't download. No. The 7 spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra. I can write it in here for you. And it definitely, like, that was one of the very first books that I read. And at the time I was still like at the depths of my depression. And it really did lay things out pretty simply. I guess that's what I liked the most about that one. After that, the 10X rule, tribes. When I was trying to, when I first got my first coach, that's the book that I went to, Tribes, making sure that I was building a strong team. Destiny by T.D. Jakes. No Excuses by Brian Tracy. This was the very first book I ever did because Stephanie had a personal development group, and that was the book that was in it and transformed the way that I look at life. Like, there are no excuses. Like, you wake up every single day and decide how you want to feel, like, to start. And then, after that, like, oh, well, you take full responsibility for the things that you did or didn't do, and you're not mad about it. You just reflect, and then you're able to move on. So like now when I'm like, you know what, Courtney, you probably should have sent out more invites, and being able to just be like, there's no excuses. Like, oh, well, there was that one time where this, and like, your excuses get you nowhere. Just get it done, basically. I guess the next one would be, identity, discover who you're destined to be. And that's by T.D. Jakes as well. I can write them all down.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think, guys, one thing you guys, we talk so much about personal development, and it's because I genuinely believe it is what transforms us, you know, and I always believe that if at the very least you guys do personal development, you guys have heard me say it over and over again, I will be forever happy. You know, if you guys never sell anything, I could care less. You know, I really, because I know that the true, who is crying? Who's a baby crying? Oh, it's I know. I was like, someone is crying, but there is, you know, there's so much transformation that can happen. And that's what I want you guys to really take on as your mission, you know, when it comes to coaching. And honestly, you know, I believe that one of the reasons why I've had a lot of success is because I've connected that this is what you know, bringing people in and affecting their mindset and affecting their emotional state. That is my mission. That's what drives me. That's what gives me purpose and makes me feel fulfilled. You know, I would do it even if I wasn't getting paid for it. And that's something you have to connect your coaching with a mission that you would still do irregardless of whether you were getting paid for it. Because I always think of like non-for-profits, right? Think of non-for-profit organizations. You have people who work for these non-for-profit organizations. They bust their butt. They have such a great, you know, and they don't make money. You know what I mean? They're not making much money, but they will like fight the good fight for a reason. It's because they believe so much in the mission behind it. And so, and I still get chills now when I think about it. It's like you have to believe in the mission enough of why you're building this business. What is the mission and the vision that you have that is behind it? Because if it's only, you know, if it's, yeah, fall in love with your message, like Danielle is saying, because if you're only driven by money, which I know you guys are not, but I'm just saying, because whoever watches this call or whatever, if you're only driven by money, you're being driven by the wrong things, you know? And I really genuinely believe when you chase money and you only look at like, well, you know, you have the employee mindset of like, I put in this much time, so I should get paid this much money. And it's like, being an entrepreneur is a whole different world. You know, it has nothing to do with how much time you put in. And it has everything to do with the value and how you change and how you make people feel and how your product, which is you guys are the product, as what your product, how that makes someone feel. And so falling, like Danielle is saying, falling in love with your message, falling in love with your mission is going to be incredibly important. And if you have not been able to connect to that, there's more personal development that you need to do then. You know, if you're not able to, it means that there's still so much more deeper work that you need to get done. And it's not a bad thing. And it doesn't mean that you can't be successful as a coach, but realize that you need to continue to work on the personal development and realize that that's what you're bringing people into this opportunity for, you know, and that's what gets me excited about this opportunity is not that I sign up a coach and I'm like, great, they're going to get in shape. No, I know, like you said, Courtne, it's like you're sitting here talking when before you couldn't talk, you know, and it's like, who knows what opportunities are going to open up for you, you know, from this, because something I've always said and shared with you guys is that the gifts and the skills that you develop here could be a stepping stone to many other things, you know, and I've always believed that about this opportunity, which is like, this can be a stepping stone to more things. It could be a connector to more things. And it's one of the main reasons why I love it as well, because I know that there's still more to come for so many of you. And I know that this opportunity can open up that door for many other people, because it can be that stepping stone that gets them towards other opportunities. And they first need to come through this funnel. And it's just for me, that's how I genuinely look at this, you know? And so now, you know, I look at Danielle, you know, Danielle actually had a public speaking event this week, which was phenomenal. You know, and she would, you know, I remember when she was, you know, really nervous and really scared. And here she is doing events in her local community, you know, guys. And that's what this is about. Realize that the skills you get here are not to just, I mean, and trust me, what I also love is that, what I love about this opportunity too, is that through the personal development, if you just want to stay in this realm, that's good too. If you want to just kind of stay in this realm and continue to do this work, that's fantastic too. But know that the skills that you get through the personal development are not only can be stepping stones to so much more. And that's why I will continue to always stay a coach, because I feel like there's still many other people who need to be developed. And there's still many other people because, you know, I think about, you know, there are like, you know, it's like if I were to just go out and like leave Beachbody and just have my own brand, which is, you know, fine. That's why I will never ever leave Beachbody. I may do other things in conjunction, but I will always stay here because I know not everyone wants to write a book. Not everyone wants to be on stage. Not everyone wants to do this. Like, and I don't want them to feel that in order to have success, they need to do those things. And this can be a great stepping stone for them. And it's one of the main reasons why I stay doing this, so that I can have that option to help other people. And so just kind of something to think about, because the personal development is what's going to open up your world. And it does it by opening up your mind, and it'll help your relationships. I mean, I can tell you, you know, it'll help, and I can see it in your own, like from the people that I do talk to, you know, it affects your relationships in a positive way, you know, that open communication, because you guys are now, you know, so much more open, so much more, you know, perceptive, so much more, you know, reflective. You're looking at yourself, you're trying to be a better person, and that energy is going to do well in your family household as well. So just my push for personal development, because it's so incredibly important. And if you're struggling as a coach, know that that's where you need to go first. You need to go back to the personal development. You need to go back to the self-care. You don't need to give up and say, I can't do this. No, it's that you need to go back to taking care of yourself and go back to making sure that you're feeding yourself first. So.
Can I piggyback off that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think personal development doesn't have to just be like a book. Go to events, guys. These events are life-changing. I went to the most powerful women in network marketing conference in March in Las Vegas. It was fantastic. It was at a, like, everything in life is no coincidence. It was perfectly timed in my life. Literally rejuvenated me. I really needed it for my business, for for myself, you know, being able to be there for 3 days, surrounded by so much positive energy and people that have been in your shoes and I didn't have $250 to my name, but there was somebody on stage that was homeless when they became, like, you know, a coach doing whatever they're doing. Like, wow, like, it just kind of puts things in perspective. Like, sometimes we can get so down on ourselves, but we are more blessed than we realize. You know, sometimes it's hard to see that when you're walking in your own life. But anyways, go to events, guys. It really is incredible. I'm going to say I want to. I'm going to go to Summit in 2018. And it's going to be freaking amazing. Yes, with Jen and Courtney. And I hope I meet all of you lovely ladies there, because I see these incredible videos and I want a piece of that, you know, and the knowledge that you guys are bringing back, like, you can transform people's lives with, not just yourself, but like, man, I can't think of the coach's name, but there was a Facebook online coaching session. And one of the things that he said was, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I didn't help anybody today, but that's okay, you probably shouldn't be doing this. Like, you know, like, if at the end of your day, you're like, oh God, I'm wiped out. You know, I don't want to do my power hour. If you're okay looking in the mirror and saying, that's okay, those people really don't need my help. Like, if you can say that to yourself, you need to be doing personal development, and maybe you don't need to be coaching, because this is a service. That's what we do, you know? So anyways, that's my soapbox.
And also I would say that, you know, kind of piggybacking off of that, is that realize, guys, you know, as cliche as it sounds, like, success leaves clues. And I know that sounds, but like, if you see someone living a life that you want, or they have a certain mindset that you really admire, that you see that they're a certain way, you know, look at what they do, you know, and that's what I do. I'm always looking at what other people are doing. Success leaves clues. And so I understand finances can be really difficult, but understanding that Luke and I, we do a ton of personal development because it's necessary. And we came into this with confidence. We came into this with good self-esteem. We came into this with good work ethic, and we're still pouring into ourselves, you know, not only money, but time into our personal development. And you see how much time we go to take away for events. And like I said, I know that sometimes events can't be done, but I'm just showing you that it is still, you know, it's that important. If we want to be successful, it's that important that we make time for this. And that's why I love personal development, because you can always get a library card. If someone can't afford, you know, to buy books, guess what? You can go to the library. You know, it's really then you just don't want to do it. And it's just, you know, you just don't want to do it. You don't want to, you can get audio from the library. You can find things at the library. You know, there's so much stuff on YouTube. There's so much out there. But look at the people that you admire, right? Because that's what it is. You want to surround yourself by the people that you admire. And like Courtne was saying, it's like when you go to these events, there's so much high energy, and they really do pump you up, and they really do rejuvenate you, because the entrepreneur, especially by yourself at home, is hard. You got to pump yourself up. You know, every single day you got to pump yourself up. You got to center yourself. That's why it has to be part. And it doesn't get easier as you become more successful. I'm just letting you know, like, it doesn't get easier if you have more money. Like, there's still the same kind of, I don't want to do this, or I'm tired, or I just want to lay in bed, or, oh, I got to like do X, Y, and Z. Like, that desire, you know, it never goes away. You know what I mean? It never goes away. So your drive and your inner motivation and your inner pursuit of your best self, you know, genuinely has to take, you know, has to come out, because that's what's really going to help you in this line of business. So anyway, well, it is 9:57. Courtne, you did amazing. You spoke so incredibly well. I must tell you, you speak very, very well.
Thank you.
You have a great, great video presence. You know, you do not, I'm telling you, you speak very well. So I would tell you, definitely try video more, because you're great on video. You're really, really good on video. You have a nice, calm voice, a nice, you know, just energy, a nice demeanor. So yeah, more videos for you, girl. We gotta set a new goal. Courtne and I met, we had a one-on-one, and she was like, I want to do a team call. And she wrote me today, and she was like, all right, it was part of my goal, and now I'm doing it. And now
I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do it.
Yeah, that's one, you know, that's one thing. If you want goals, tell them to me, and I'll throw you out into the woods. I'll throw you out into the fire to do them, because it's incredibly important, guys. That's what I'm literally paying people thousands of dollars right now to hold me accountable. So, you know, accountability is tough. It's tough, especially when you don't have someone holding you accountable. Me being coached right now has taught me two things. So for me, I'm being coached right now by a physician who helps other physicians monetize their medical degree. It's been really interesting to see how, when something is incredibly important to you, how people make the time. And so he has about 35 busy professionals, busy physicians in his group. And every Tuesday, we have to show up from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for a class that's just like this on Zoom. And I was pleasantly surprised to see how many of us show up every single week without fail. And it showed me that it doesn't matter how busy we are because physicians are notorious for being super busy, because they're not only, these are women they're mostly women, and they all have children, and they all have like busy lives. So to see that commitment, it showed me, it was a great example to me that when I took it to me with coaching, I took it to me with my challengers. It's like when people really are serious, they're going to show up. And if they're not serious, they're not going to show up. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no pulling people. It's like, it's either important to them or it's not. And it's, at the end of the day, it's not our role to try to pull them, you know, along the journey. So that's my take with this kind of person, like what I've learned from my coaching in the short time that I've been doing it, that accountability is really important, and that if something's really important, people will show up for it. So, all right, guys. Well, I will be posting the recording, and thank you, Courtne, so much. And
thank you, guys.
And I hope that you guys have an amazing, amazing rest of your week. Bye, guys.
Bye.